in Affinity Publisher, if you've got Affinity Photo, you can also use Photo within the application. Now, what you can do, you can go to File and there's Edit in Photo. Of course, you could do that, but even better is there's an option if you've got, like they say, these images. These ones I've just imported just using the Place Image tool. What you can do, you can go to here and Photo Persona. Now, if you haven't got Affinity Photo, you can't do it. Unfortunately, it will not allow. Of course, if you've got Designer Persona, you could use that. But obviously, it's not going to be much use for, obviously, images. But Photo Persona is available if you've got Affinity Photo. So select that. And once you've done that, you notice you've got an additional load of tools. You've got various things over here, the levels, white background, all those sort of things. But you've also got filters, which are really useful because you've got lots of different things like distort, you've got equations, got ripples there, twirl. You can use all of them within Publisher. But you also got colours and you've got procedural texture. Now, there's lots and lots of videos on my Graphic Extra channel about how to use procedural texture, but for Affinity Photo. But all those equations can be used here in this procedural texture in Affinity Publisher. So you can use all the same colour effects. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got them transferred over from my Affinity Photo. Probably can do it via this. There's an option here, Manage Presets, where you can import presets. I haven't tried that yet. That's the reason why I haven't got it. Maybe that's for a future video, but I haven't done that yet. So just pointed out, it's possible you can import them, but I'm not certain actually where the presets are stored. So it's simple as that. That's why I haven't done it yet. Once I found those, then I will import them. It would be nice actually if the feature, if it just managed presets, just said import from your Affinity Photo. So you wouldn't have to search or do anything, but it doesn't do that, I don't think. So now, presets. Now these presets are obviously built already. Some are from me, some are that come with Affinity Photo / Publisher. So you've got things like that. So as soon as you apply it, you've got that design. Now some go all the way over the whole layer and you might have to use a selection to confine them into that particular area. So, but most should just be nice like that, where it just does it that way. Perlin Noise, there's a whole range of different ones. And you'll notice every time I change it, the custom inputs change, the equation changes. So each one of these have got different equations. So there's marble. You know, you might not think that looks particularly, it's sort of like marble. An unusual marble anyway. Colour wave, that's one of mine, which is a variation of one of the sine ones. Now you can see the equations there. You've got the equations. They're not that complex. I mean, it depends, obviously, how you love your maths or anything. They're not particularly excessively complex. And you can actually add a lot of complexity to them because you can actually stretch this panel out and you can make a really long, complex equation and add lots of different things. You've got semicolons, you've got a load of functionality. And if you've got the Affinity Photo help, you can find out all the functions you can use and quite a bit of code in terms of behind it. And what you can do with these equations, you can modify settings over here with custom inputs. And you'll notice that they've got custom inputs here, A, B and C. Now you can call them anything. You just got here, and they're just between 0 and 1. That's all they are. You've got other ones as well. You've got -1 to 1. And to generate them, to create this custom input, you simply click like on R and it will just generate another custom input. This one is a real number and you can use it in your equation. So I've got A and B and C, but I can actually go up here and say, you know, I want D there instead. And now at the moment, of course, it's got 0, which maybe is not ideal, but you can change a value. And the thing is with real, you can put 2.3 in, which is nice. So you can make subtle, very subtle changes with reels, which you can't really do with some of the other ones. It's either this or that, or it's between like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think it's quite a nice feature having the reel. And you can modify these and you modify that, and therefore you can create all kinds of different designs. And once if you've modified your equation, you want to save it, you can always just go up here and you can create a preset and give it to a particular category, basic shapes, noise, etc. And again, you can then, once you've done that, you can click apply. All done there. Now, what you can also do, you can go to, I'm just going to go to this one now. So you've got, of course, you've got the layer menu here, you've got fade commands as well. So actually what you can do there, we've got there, and go to layer, and you can fade the procedural as well, texture. So somebody's thought about that one. So layer menu, fade procedural texture, and which is quite good if you just want to create sort of a more subtle, or maybe create some like difference or something. You can vary the fade, so you have more or less of the image, and so on and so on. So you can create some very interesting colourful designs, and it's still, this is in the persona still. So you can still go over here and add and modify various adjustments, perfectly reasonable as well. So all those sorts of things. Now, I've got another image here. Obviously, you can move that around. You can also use other things. You can use type. You can use shapes, perfectly reasonable as well. But again, just go to, actually, I can use this as well. Just want to, you've got filters here, you've got colours, and you've got procedural texture. You've got all those procedural textures even. Got those, and like I say, there's a lot of tutorials about all the different ones you possibly could use. I mean, there's obviously thousands of possible equations. I'm certain that people have been adding more and more of these procedural textures, so worth checking out. Maybe do a search on the web and you can find lots of probably information about it there. So you can also do layer and new live filter layer, and then down to colour and procedural texture. So you can add a layer as well. So check it there. There's another one. One's there, checkered, or maybe smooth bar, and so on and so on. So there's a whole Perlin Noise, marble, and you can modify it. Well, you can modify the equation. Again, you can always go into there and say Rx minus Ry. That's always my favourite one. And you can just, and it will create subtle changes, and you can change values over here. They don't have to be fixed. I mean, you can go for 0.9. And you might change something and it doesn't seem to change much. Might be helpful to them. Maybe put that to 50. And you can see, great, that's a, and you can spread it over different channels as well. So you can use these R, G and B. You can set those up. So instead of just having, you could actually say, I don't want B. So you can see, obviously, that design there. You can see the flower there. And you've got G, you see more of the flower now. It's only been worked on in the red. And you can also just go down there and add some additional equations. And you don't have to have them the same as that. You could have completely different equations. Maybe use the one you had for the wave, combined in the one with the this. Perfectly reasonable. If you suddenly make a mistake and you're not happy with it, you can always just quickly get rid of them all and just go back. And you can see there you've got red, green and blue, the split. And you can, if you want to, you can put your own ones in there. You could have R plus G or something like that. So you can end up getting part of the image back again. And again, one thing with live procedural texture is you've got option here for the multiply, darken. So you've got, it's a layer. So you can go colour dodge. And you've got opacity as well, so if you want to change the opacity. Similar to the fade feature. Slightly confusing the way they do it, because obviously in Photoshop you do it via the edit menu. In here, it's the fade is in the layer. Very confusing, but anyway, that's the way. Obviously, it's the way it's done. So you can close that down, and it's still active. So if you want to change it, but I'm not going to change it. So if you want to, go to View, Studio, and Layers. It's up there somewhere. I never can see. It's always weird when you look for things and you think, where are there is layers? That's what I was looking for. You've got layers over there. And of course, what you can do, you can cancel. You can get rid of it. That's the great thing about layers. It's associated with that. That procedural texture is only associated with that. Now this has been applied, but it's a pixel layer now. And as a pixel layer, it means it's a destructive effect. So you can't go back as easily without doing an undo. It's been done, it's applied. Now with these procedural textures with the layers, means you can just remove it, just simply like that, back to the image. Or you can change the effect altogether if you want to change the effect. So, and also you can add multiple effects, all again layers. Now once you're happy with everything, and also you've got here a replace option, so you can click that and replace the image as well. So you can then, but in the effect, so if I click replace, and I'm going to select another one, say that, maybe not that one, come out, or that one. That effect, that image now has that effect applied to it. And of course you can still go and modify the effect. And once you're finished, once you're happy with everything, you can go back to your publisher persona, and then you're in there, and you can see what happens. You've got the layers still, still got this layers thing, and it's still got a procedure. So even here you can turn around and say, you know what, I don't want that. I can just deselect it or bring it back. But this one, of course, it's a pixel layer. You can't change it anymore, unless you undo, of course. Over here in the history. Well, hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to Graphic Extras channel. Always adding lots of tutorials about Affinity Publisher, Photo Designer, and obviously combinations of Photo and Publisher if you've obviously got both. And also Photoshop, Illustrator, Critter, Painter, Rebel, and quite a few other ones as well. Also, if you've got any comments, any sort of things, maybe I didn't explain something, maybe you think, or if you haven't got this thing, you know, please put a comment saying, I can't use it. I'm sorry again, let's say without photo, I don't believe that you can use it. I've done a few videos where I've assumed that weirdly that Publisher did have this photo persona. It doesn't. It actually just has, you have to have photo. That's the way it works. So anything that I've done wrong, please let me know. Any comments? Great. Also a dislike or like. Thank you much.